Welcome to another Advisor Insight interview. Really chuffed to be catching up with Alister Gaines, a chartered financial planner at Akrivis Wealth up in Newcastle. Last time we were just chatting before we started recording. Last time we saw each other was for a rugby match, England-Scotland, up in Edinburgh. So great to see you.
And you, Lee. Yeah, how are things?
Yeah, not too bad at all. We're all kind of working around this COVID and remote working and all that stuff, aren't we?
Yeah, well, it's just amazing how quickly everybody's adapted to it, really, and I think clients have done a fantastic job on the whole as well. So it's been good.
It's amazing how we it's great the tech was there, I guess, but it's amazing how I think it's propelled us sort of 5 or 10 years ahead. Everyone was thinking about it but not doing it, and we've worked out clients can deal with it. Yeah. Yeah,
and I think just trying to work through, the normal processes, using tech to try and improve things. I think you're absolutely right. It's accelerated the pace of change in the industry, and we all long to try and get back to face, but actually, I can certainly see it being a hybrid moving forward.
Mm. Yeah, a lot of the feedback we get on Octo is particularly review meetings are going incredibly well, on that remote basis.
Mm. Yeah, sure.
So for those people that don't know you and weren't cheering for opposite sides at Murrayfield together, tell us a bit about your background and your practice.
Yeah, so my background, like many of us, I guess, we didn't ever envisage a career in financial services. Strangely, I'm probably a bit of an unusual one in that respect, because I did a financial services degree, but that was not with any foresight. It was just simply that I didn't get onto the business studies degree that I wanted to. Very much fell into financial services. Didn't really know what I wanted to do, and pitched up at a job interview for Lloyd's Private Banking, and was told at that interview that I was probably overqualified for the job that they wanted me to do, but to come on board, get some more qualifications, and then off you go again, sort of thing. So that's pretty much exactly what I did. Went to another investment management firm, and then ultimately pitched back up at Lloyd's in Newcastle as a senior private banking manager, where I met a couple of IFAs working for the bank at the time, who subsequently went on to set up their own firm, and I joined them about 12 months later. So spent 11 and a half years there. We built that practice from a standing start into a very strong regional wealth management firm. I had my own ideas about what I wanted to do in terms of building a firm around kind of financial planning. Was really proud of what we did at that firm, but then you get to the point where 4 directors all have different ideas about how they want to take the business forward, and therefore I felt really the time was to reset for me and take control of my own destiny in that respect, and build the type of firm that I wanted to build. So that was back in 2019, back end of 2019, and then along comes a global pandemic. So.
Was it not in your business plan?
No, surprisingly, no.
Yeah, for so few of us, I know. Yeah. So not dissimilar in some ways. I did bank insurance with the Building Society group, and then also Royal Bank of Scotland. So not dissimilar in some ways. And then also that kind of different directors wanted to go in different directions towards the end of a business. So for those, what about your financial planning beliefs? You're a chartered financial planner. You obviously take it incredibly seriously.
Yeah, for me, my background really, I used to run. We in the previous firm had discretionary permissions, and I ran the investment models in that respect. So obviously I've been a long-standing chartered financial planner. But my main responsibilities around having a small client bank were actually in running the investment models. So it's kind of a strange transition, really, having come from that real investment management background, to actually launching a firm that focuses on the financial planning side of things. And I suppose from my perspective, the rationale behind that was, I don't know if clients necessarily value the investment piece, maybe quite as much as they should, or not. That's an arguable point. But actually, where I think clients get the real value is from proper financial planning, helping them understand their goals and helping them establish a route map to get there. And therefore, things like, the tax planning angles and, and that cash flow modeling side of things, they're all things that directly play into the client's objectives rather than beating a benchmark by 1 or 2% or underperforming a benchmark. And, over the years, there's nothing more that I like than a detailed conversation on investment markets. But you can see clients' eyes glaze over at that, and I think sometimes as advisors, it is a bit of kind of vanity or ego or showing off our knowledge when actually we should really be focusing on the client. And that's really where I think the financial planning piece comes into its own, so.
Yeah, and absolutely. And that's, I think, we all know this now, don't we? It's, I think sometimes the investment industry like to talk about the investment part of it, but, it's, with the years that we put in, it's the context of the decisions, it's the education bit, it's the pastoral bit, helping clients understand the tax efficiencies and getting them where they want to get to is definitely the thing they value.
Yeah. So that was always in the back of my mind when I was thinking about launching the firm. As I say, the investment world is fascinating to me and will endlessly be fascinating. But trying to think about structuring a firm with the proper processes in place on the financial planning side of things was even more interesting for me.
No, absolutely. So thank you. So, just sticking with the investment piece for a moment, what are your investment beliefs then? Are you still doing the investment piece? Are you outsourcing? Are you using active? Have you gone the passive, evidence-based route?
Yeah, no, so outsource is the short answer. I mean, my background, as I say, always lent itself to active management. In the portfolios that I ran, I was very, very much looking for active managers. It was a sort of fund-based approach, but it was always on the active side. My chat to clients was always that I would want them to pay for a manager to try and protect them. I think, quite clearly you look through all the research and that just simply doesn't stack up, does it? So, I'm much more leaning towards the passive side of things. I think active still has a place, but it's more of a blended approach. But yes, I outsource that investment management. Effectively, I want to outsource everything that doesn't revolve around directly impacting on the client experience. And of course, the business growth and the development of the business. So I sort of selected a few different partners to work with in that respect, constantly keeping them on review. But it is more of a blended approach.
Great, thank you. So, just moving on from there then, and that's such a common approach we see from members on Octo. What do you think the profession's doing well at the moment in terms of, forward movement? Perhaps if we set aside the way we've managed to adapt and clients have adapted to this kind of strange situation, but on a more broader sense, what do you think the profession's doing well?
I think there is much more of a focus on clients now. I think, you see in the communications from some of the very good firms that are out there that there is that focus on the client much more than I think we've ever experienced. I think the industry was about product sales. It was about asset gathering, and that really from the very big banks down to the local IFAs. I think now it's much more about that client journey, understanding what the clients are looking for, understanding what's important to them and helping them on step by step. So I think there's some really good stuff going on out there on the financial planning piece. I think there's some really good stuff going on in terms of encouraging new entrants into the business and to make it a kind of exciting profession to be part of. And that, for me, does coincide with the lack of or the discarding of product sales and asset gathering,
Yeah. Yeah, and funny enough, just for this interview, I was interviewing a younger advisor who'd gone through the university route. It's interesting you said about your financial services degree. I did mine probably about 5 years ago through Edinburgh and Napier, as kind of unfinished business because I never did a degree. I went into the military instead. So yeah, interesting. So it's great to see these young people coming through. Absolutely. Yeah. What do you think we're not doing very well? What could we be better at? Through the whole financial services sector, even not just the profession.
I think it's always the clarity and the transparency. I try to make a point of what I do, trying to convey it as a fairly simple message. On my website, I talk about the smoke and mirrors, and I talk about simplicity. And again, I think we're as a profession we're moving towards that, but I don't think we've quite nailed that yet in terms of just discarding some of the old habits and the bad reputation that some in the profession might have. I think I look at it for me, and I think when I launched the firm, I was trying to understand what I felt I was good at and what I wasn't so good at. And the marketing side of things, I think as a profession, we've improved significantly. I think my own personal journey in that regard, I'm not quite where I want to be there yet. So yeah, I think it's that getting that message across through our marketing, through our communications, that actually many more people can benefit from advice than actually take it up, Yeah.
Just, I love the website, by the way. Very smart, I thought.
Thank you. Yeah. Still always a work in progress, Lee.
Yeah, but they always will be, won't they?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no, listen, I take the point on, the benefits of financial planning, making more people aware. It's absolutely crucial, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think we've then got some challenges as to how we engage with some of the younger audience, So I try to think about that in terms of, at the moment, younger higher earners or younger business owners, and trying to set them on the right paths, the right behaviors as they're building up their wealth. But, it's anybody that can benefit from some of the principles of sensible financial planning, be it, as simple as budgeting or something like that, getting into those regular patterns, regular behaviors, and trying to think about the long term. I mean, my kids are 24 and 18, and trying to get them to think about the right behaviors and engage with that is interesting, because they've obviously got their own motivations and everything else. Trying to steer them away from some of the TikTok investment experts out there as well.
Oh, isn't it funny? There was a load of stuff on Twitter over the weekend about it. So these TikTok investment gurus talking about gold and Bitcoin and crypto, and you think, oh my God.
Scary, isn't it?
Isn't it just? Yeah, well, I guess that's social media, isn't it? Yeah, so thanks for that. Just in terms of, who do you think is doing things well? Are there people in the sector that you admire, that inspire you, that have lifted you up, that you think are doing an incredible job?
Yeah, I think I really like what Neil Parker over at Jocelyn Rhodes is doing. I think, if I'm right, I think he has an engineering background, and he's engineered the hell out of a financial planning process. And I just love seeing some of that stuff. I think Adrian Murphy Wealth, I think the simplicity of some of their branding and the messages that they get are really good. And then I guess, with all the next gen planner stuff, trying to reach out to kind of younger entrants. And again, some of the information that they put out there, I think, is fantastic. So yeah, I think as a profession, there's some fantastic people kicking around, and I think we're moving in the right direction, certainly.
Yeah, it's much commented on as I do these interviews. What you've just said is the way that we all share knowledge now. We kind of help each other, share expertise, give each other tips and tricks that we're up to, and that kind of stuff. And that's a sea change from just even a decade ago. But it was like, it was my client, my business, I'm telling you nothing. It's just fantastic to see this collaboration now that's going on.
Yeah, and I think, platforms like Octo Members, being able to get access to a wide range of people at all levels of the industry and in all parts of the industry, you can learn so much. And there is so much content out there. I think for a new planner coming on board, I think, I'm part of the CII mentoring scheme. So I'm talking to some younger advisors as part of that. And I tend to try and point them in the right direction of some of that kind of reliable, respected content. And there's just so much to learn. I think it's a fascinating kind of for those younger people coming in now, and all of that information to hand. I guess, when I started out, it was very much your colleagues around you, and that was it, So
yeah, either that or money management and pensions management, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I guess the Allied Dunbar tax guide, that was about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, have you got any plans or ambitions for the future, Alister, for the business?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as young as I'd like to be, but I've got a very long time frame in the business, and part of setting up my own firm was really to try and almost reset the clock a little bit, and in that respect, I want to grow and develop this firm into a respected regional financial planning practice, and I have a small number of clients, very good quality client base, but obviously there's scope to increase that. I have the bandwidth to be able to do that, but also looking at bringing on a broader team of advisors and support staff to really build a high quality team. And then thereafter, I guess it's things like, we're all aware of the average age of advisor in the UK, because it's pumped down our throats on a regular basis. But I do think for those with a sufficiently long time frame, there is real opportunity as things change and people look to exit the industry. And, in time, I would like to offer, almost a retiring advisor piece that offers an alternative to some of the big consolidators, I suppose.
Okay. Yeah, listen, fantastic. Well, we wish you well with that.
Great. Thank you. Yeah, fingers crossed.
Listen, I could talk to you all day, and I hope we'll chat again, Alister. Do you have a kind of a mantra by which you do your business, you live your life by? This is my favourite question, by the way.
Well, my wife might tell you it's to get down to the rugby club as often as possible. But, I just very much feel that I'm always learning and always keen to learn. And I think, in speaking to lots of people, trying to pick out some of the good stuff, and that information sharing, as you say, is widespread now. To constantly trying to learn and develop professionally, personally, I think is important to me. I'm very, I'm adamant that I've got a great level of experience in what I do, but there's always somebody doing things slightly different, maybe slightly better, that I can learn from. So that constant learning, I think, for me is really, really important.
No, thank you. And I think that's what's now propelling us as a profession, personally, is the fact that we are collaborating and sharing in the way that perhaps the traditional professions always did. So it's just fantastic to see.
Yeah.
Alister, listen, I'd love to thank you so much for your support of Octo. Thanks for taking the time today. I know you're busy, so really wish you well with the business, and hope you'll speak to us again.
Great. Good to talk to you, Lee. Thank you very much.
You too, Alister. Take care.
Yes, thanks.